continue tracking the story of the Bushiri extradition. In fact, the government in Malawi is expected to host a briefing later this morning in which it will respond to issues around Shepherd Bushiri himself. The matter will be part of Malawian President Lazarus Chakwera's Monday briefings, we're told. To give us an idea of how this is likely to pan out, let's bring in journalists from The Nation, Yvonne Akonda Sundu. Yvonne, thanks very much for your time, and thanks very much for joining us here in South Africa from the Malawian capital. So help us better place Shepherd Bushiri and the story on the ground, so to speak. It's receiving a lot of attention here in South Africa, not least of which because of what Shepherd Bushiri is accused of having had done. Is there as much attention being given to the man in Malawi?
Yeah, there is attention that is going towards the stories to do with Bushiri. Probably the only difference is that in South Africa there is more of so much interest. Probably it's because of the fact that Bushiri is coming from South Africa. The issues that are involving Bushiri, he did them well in South Africa. But it is a fact that the media also are giving attention to stories to Shepherd Bushiri. Like yesterday, all the story to Prophet Bushiri. So it just shows that in Malawi there's so much interest. Even people, ordinary people, they are debating on social media as to probably how we managed to escape from South Africa. So there is interest coming from both the media and even the journalists.
Given that, then, how much attention is this likely to receive then from this weekly briefing from the president? I mean, the president's name has come up several times. His name has been cleared even by the government here at home. But, you know, how much, is he likely to focus on this, especially because, you know, the presidency is now being involved?
Let me start by saying that the president conducts the weekly briefings. At times, it's not him personally. It is his media team. So today we are also not too sure as to whether it is going to be the president himself or the media team. But obviously, journalists are going to take advantage of the fact that they have that opportunity to ask as many questions as possible in relation to what in relation to the issue to do with Bushiri, and also because of the fact that in his address, Bushiri repeatedly said that he wants the government of Malawi to be involved in his case. So at this briefing, obviously, journalists are going to take advantage of the fact that there is that opportunity, and then they are going to ask such kind of questions just to make sure that they get as much information as possible. And indeed, it is true that the president's office has repeatedly said that the president had no hand in helping Bushiri to escape South Africa. There are so many schools of thought as to how Bushiri managed to do that. Key among them is the belief amongst Malawians that probably Bushiri used road transport and he probably bought his way out of South Africa. And as the minister said, for most Malawians, they are interested in knowing how Bushiri managed to escape South Africa as opposed to more of how he managed to get into Malawi.
Quite an interesting position to take. Part of what's made headlines around the Bushiri story in South Africa has been the outward form of support he enjoyed, mostly from his followers, whether he's appearing in court or there are moments where he's having an exchange during his sermons. Would you say he holds as much prestige amongst his followers in Malawi as well? For instance, if he was to appear in a Malawian court, would journalists anticipate a huge influx of supporters just outside court backing Shepherd Bushiri?
Yeah, probably yes. But obviously it's going to be different from the way it was in South Africa, because Bushiri has got a huge following in South Africa, and it's because of the fact that he was based in South Africa. But here in Malawi, he also has this ECG church, but it's not as big as it is in South Africa, which automatically also means that the following will not be as huge as it was in South Africa. But there are those followers that are out there that are looking forward to seeing how this issue is going to pan out in Malawi. As in, is the Malawi government going to hand over Bushiri to the South African government? Or is Bushiri going to voluntarily hand over himself to the South African government? Or what next is it going to happen to their prophet?
All right. Well, I guess like everybody else around the world watching the story, we'll have to wait and see how it pans out. Thanks very much for coming on to give us a perspective from the ground, so to speak. Yvonne Akonda Sundu is a journalist with The Nation, joining us live there from the Malawian capital of Lilongwe.